and welcome to Before the Bounce. We got AFL SANFL Pub Talk, brought to you by the Exchange Hotel out in Orlando. We were out there Friday night after the show, and I tell you what, Damien McGee was putting it all on for us, a few drinks and whatnot, but brilliant spot, so get down there. But
it is a brilliant spot.
We got a special guest joining us tonight.
Yep, Steve Guy, 208 games with Woodville, West Torrens, life member of the SANFL.
Correct.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ando, Matt. Good to be here.
208 games, brilliant, of course. But,
it's a long journey.
But you had the merge as well, isn't it? That would have been a little bit tough.
The merge was an interesting time. At that stage, it's all about. I think first training session there was nearly 100 players out on the track, and you start looking around from Woodville players to Torrens players, and then other players who are just coming out, and you think, where do you sit in the scheme of things? And basically, you're proving your whole self all over again.
What about Woodville West Torrens? I mean, pretty much from the time that they amalgamated, it's not too many times they missed the finals, and this year was one of those.
One of those times.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. We became a very strong club. Probably didn't get the rewards with premierships over the last 26 years, but I think they've only missed the finals 3 times in that period since they've met.
It's a good record.
So if you work on success, they've probably been a very successful club.
Yeah. We don't want to give too much away, Ando, because you're going to have Steve on the couch with you later on in the show.
Forward to that.
But what we want to we want to get straight into the SANFL. You'd be a very, very happy man. The Maggies are through, but Glenelg, the Bays, they knocked off the Crows on the weekend to get through probably who we thought were the best side all year.
I was a bit surprised, Stephen, not yourself. I actually thought Nord, who beat Sturt the week before, were outstanding. They might have looked come up a bit flat, but I was really surprised that...
You're right, Nord were outstanding. Then they came up against the Crows, who probably looked a bit flat against Port, and then the Crows came out and just dominated.
Yeah,
they did right from the outset.
And then they looked a bit flat.
And then they looked flat. So Glenelg come out and done what
talk about inconsistency with so many teams this year.
Yeah, which is good for the SANFL.
Yeah.
Really, it's been really good.
Have you seen much of a change over, especially the last probably couple of years? I know you've also coached a long time as well, and we'll talk about that a bit later, but I mean the SANFL is getting more and more alike that AFL style of play. Pushing, you've got to be fit.
Yes.
The interchange is so important. Where it's probably been most important the last couple of years, where it's always been pretty more settled, the old interchange, and you try to leave your best players on. It's all changing a bit.
Yeah, it has definitely changed, and it is more AFL orientated, running both ways more and more, and set plays, all the systems in place that they do. So it's still really good to watch.
Yep.
It's still fiercely one-on-one combative. And they just go for the whole game.
I think Glenelg will be hard to beat. I mean, they've been top all year. They had a wonderful game. I think it was later in the year against Port at Alberton, they looked a bit flat against Port, but it was a very, very close game. And I only saw part of it, but they were saying it was one of the best SANFL games for many, many years. That particular one, I think it was 3 or 4 points, and I think Glenelg was saying they got a lot more in the tank.
Yeah, and you looked at it, and I think Glenelg do have a bit more in the tank. They seem to be pretty balanced all over the field. They've got a good midfield, really good forward line. McBean's been a tower of strength up there, and Reynolds sitting next to him.
There's some big forwards.
So they've got some really good players, and then Partington, the Gary medalist, running around, and their backline's good. And you've got a young 18-year-old out there who's stayed under 18 captain, Will Gould, who's playing sensational.
They are a good side.
So they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Endo, you've obviously been involved in a long, fierce rivalry between Port and the Bays. So we're going to see that on Sunday. You'll be down watching.
Oh, definitely. I mean, probably one of the greatest memories of football is the 77 grand final. I went to 76. I was absolutely shattered as a young kid. It was a Rick Davies show. And that's when I think they had about 15,000+ along inside the boundary. What a classic that was. And I was there, which was... it was a great day being there, but which is such a disappointing result for us. Port, and then Port Glenelg, 77. Russ, leave it. Geez, it's been a long time, but it's worth the wait. Fantastic. So that was just, and for me personally, the rivalry's been there. Since I can remember watching footy in those mid 70s.
You remember 86?
Well, I remember 86. That was probably my rivalry when Scott Salisbury took me out and knocked me out. So we won't talk about that. But that started a lot of rivalry for me personally.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm
but
still
no.
watching the footage. I still to this day believed if you didn't try
Yeah.
to steal the footy off your teammate who already had the footy,
I'm
you
actually
wouldn't have
sick
got
of you
done.
sending it to everyone as well, by the way.
But mate, boys, Sunday we'll see a huge crowd at the Oval.
Well, they're saying records.
Yes.
The main function room, they're saying 700 plus are booked in. 700 plus. So I don't know whether squeezing all the numbers into that McGarry Medal room, but
Yeah,
wow,
no, that's
so
fantastic.
they're inundated, absolutely inundated. Press has really jumped on it. I mean,
It's been
3,
everywhere.
4, 5 pages today.
Absolutely.
Yesterday the same.
Yes.
Probably more tomorrow. So the whole state's get behind it. It's just a classic, isn't it?
It is.
You know,
It
and it's
is.
building up to be a classic.
And that's why they're proposing it to be an absolute classic, and I can see it being that. Because they're two sides that go really hard at the ball.
Boys, we'll move on to the AFL, and Source Jacobs is off to GWS. We've spoken about this before. I don't know, you could have been away that week, Greg. I don't know if you're there, but looks like GWS are the front runners to get him. Is that a good move for both? Well, is it a good move for the GWS, and then is it a good move for the Crows as well?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think Source has still got a fair bit to offer, and I think he could play a role with the Crows most definitely.
Didn't get any opportunity this year,
No.
did he? I mean, that's the thing that I question. If they think there was something there for him, well, you're not showing him anything from how
That's right.
how the opportunity he got this year. So really, if he wants to continue his AFL career,
He probably needs to look at going
he has to
somewhere
go. He has to go.
And the opportunity at GWS is probably greater because they've got Mumford. Then I think there's a young lad that did his ACL during this year, so he won't play much next year either.
Yeah,
So
well,
there's
you
probably
got
more
Dawson
opportunity.
Simpson's already retired.
That's right.
Mumford's
Yeah.
banged up, basically.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I think, by all reports as well, and even hearing Grundy's comments, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I think Crows are pretty hopeful that
He's open to-
they'll be getting him, so that makes it even harder for Source then as well.
But do you think he'll get a lot of game time for GWS? I mean, they're a cracking side.
They are a cracking
they're
side,
cracking
but
side. Well,
I
they're
could
playing
see-
this week. They're in a prelim, so you're in the top 4. He couldn't get in the side that didn't make the 8.
I think I could see him.
And his
getting
age
game
point of
time.
view,
I could see him get it because I don't think Mumford's can play a whole year.
Yeah.
So I think they would almost split the season between the two of them.
2 old legs though, 2 old bodies.
But you look at it,
That's
there's
the
a lot.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a ruckman this day and age, the young ones running around, they play
Yeah.
virtually as another ruck rover going
Yes.
around the ground. So, but I think there is still a place for the old
He reads
dinosaurs.
it beautifully, doesn't he?
He does.
And that's what I thought that the Crows needed at times during the year to give him a good block because he did deserve it and he is that good.
Yeah,
Correct.
100%. And lads, just quickly to finish up, ex-Adelaide Crows, Ben Rutten now been announced that he's going to be the successor after Woosher at Essendon. Any thoughts on that being announced so early? It's sort of like the Mick Malthouse Buckley situation back in the day.
And Rusen
Yes,
and Goodwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't go that well this year, that one, did it?
No,
At all.
and Roos and John Longmire as
Yeah.
well was another one. It's an interesting one. I think they probably almost forced their hand into it with the Crows, especially with the Crows position coming available, and Fremantle was still searching for a coach. So
They think a lot of him down there, like
Obviously
a lot of
they
him.
do.
So you are right. They're trying to block him from putting his names forward, and,
Yes.
and another year for him. That's that makes an extra one of learning because Jesus, some pressure in there.
Oh, absolutely.
Who wants it? Who would want that job?
yeah,
Really, who want that
absolutely.
job?
One of the
But, yeah.
powerhouses of the AFL.
He's got the
Absolutely.
best record, of win-loss ratios, Pike, and he's
Yes,
out.
and he's out.
And he's out.
That's right.
Wow.
I think it
crazy.
might be a good move for the Crows, though, from what we're hearing internally. But
Okay.
boys, stick around. We got plenty more before the bounce. And again, thank you to the Exchange Hotel in Gawler. Don't forget, find us on Facebook at the South Australian Footballer, Piranha Media. You can find us at our YouTube channel as well, the SA Footballer TV, for all content around South Australian football, all our magazines, and especially before the bounce each week. With over 155,000 subscribers, you can't go wrong with the South Australian Football and Piranha Media.